Okay, my camera battery just died. I have no idea what that was. It's gotta be a deer.
Can't figure out what that is. Must be some type of bird.
Adam, a solo van lifer traveling through Europe, was parked at a motorway service station somewhere between Budapest and Prague when his peaceful night's sleep turned into every vehicle dweller's worst nightmare. Around 3 a.m., Adam was jolted from sleep by voices uncomfortably close to his van. Still in a daze, he activated his CCTV system to see what was happening outside. What he saw on the screens made his blood run cold.
Okay, so I've located two people on the right-hand side of the van. Oh no, maybe that's not them, because they're walking off up towards the motorway. Well, that's a bit weird. Why would you be walking up towards the motorway? But yeah, maybe that's not them, unless they come back, but they seem to be disappearing into the distance. Let's just fast forward a bit. Oh no, wait, they're coming back. Okay, this is blatantly them. Right, so that for some reason they've walked up towards the motorway and then they've come back into the service area. Yeah, they're coming directly to my van and they're going round the back of my van. Okay, so this is obviously when I heard their voices. Oh no, they're going straight up to... They're going straight up to my driver's window and they're looking in it.
The strangers weren't just passing by. They moved with purpose, walking around to examine different sides of the vehicle. One appeared to be smoking, but their behavior was far from casual. Adam watched through his security cameras as the men circled his van, peering through windows and studying the exterior.
So enter the thieves. Around the rear of the van, they take a quick look at the back. One of them's smoking something. Maybe he's innocent. Maybe they were just smoking. I heard them. That's where I heard them talking. And I was sort of in a daze, and I was like, what is going on? They've gone back round to the other side of the van now, so let's pull that camera back up. Actually, no, it definitely wasn't innocent, because I remember I heard them actually touch the handle. Oh yeah, look, there we go. Right, he's bent down there. What's he doing? Yeah, he's trying to do something there. And that was where I shouted pigeon. Look at that. Right, let's just rewind that again. Right, so he's keeping an eye on that lorry that's leaving, and he's bent down doing something by my van. He must be trying to hide the fact that his hand's like touching the handle. But this is the point where I heard the handle go, and I'm half asleep, and I shout pigeon, and I rush up and I open up this curtain here, and then you can see as soon as I do that, he says something to his mate, and they scupper off. So if we go back to the front camera, we should, yeah, there we go. So that's them. As soon as they know that I'm in the van, they're now just disappearing off into the night, as though nothing's happened. And then, oh look, have they stopped? Are they trying a lorry? I know, maybe they haven't. The footage isn't that good quality, obviously, because it's real dark. But I think you can see they are just walking off into the distance there. They're probably assuming that there are definitely people in the lorries having a sleep, but my van just looks like it's sat there on its own. Now this bit round the back of the van seems quite innocent. It looks like he's just smoking, and he chucks that in the bin, and then he comes back round. It's like for some reason they didn't want to try the back of the van, which suggests to me that they weren't looking to rob what was inside the van, they were looking to nick the entire thing. Imagine if I just woken up bombing down the motorway at 70 miles an hour. That would have made a brilliant video. But yeah, then you got this bit here, which is weird. What is he doing? He's like bending down and doing something. Do you reckon he's got one of them Slim Jims or something? And obviously you can't hear the audio, but that's the precise point when shall I give you a demonstration of what I did? So I'm sleeping like this, right? And I hear some noises real close to me, because obviously that is the back door right there. I hear the voices out there. That's when they chuck that cigarette away. Now when I first wake up in the van, wherever I am, the first thing I'm thinking is, where the hell am I? I always forget where I've parked. And I'm like, right, there's people out there. And I suddenly realise that I'm in the services, I think. I reach up here and I stick my CCTV on. Takes a second to load up, and then it loaded, and that's when I think I saw them around the side of the van. So I'm half asleep thinking, are they going to steal the pigeon? Are they going to steal the pigeon?
If Adam hadn't woken up and made his presence known at that exact moment, he could have found himself in a far more dangerous situation. The intruders had the tools and the intent. They only lacked the time to complete whatever they had planned. After the men disappeared, Adam tried to fall back asleep, but found himself constantly checking the CCTV feeds, unable to shake the feeling that they might return. Eventually, he made the decision to drive to the next service station, parking closer to the building and under the lights this time. For Adam, it was a stark reminder that even in seemingly safe locations like service stations, vehicle dwellers remain vulnerable targets. His CCTV system had done exactly what it was meant to do: provide evidence and, more importantly, act as a deterrent once the criminals realized they were being recorded. The incident left Adam exhausted but grateful. His quick thinking and security setup had prevented what could have been a much worse situation, and while he got the footage he didn't want, at least now he knew what it felt like to thwart an actual break-in attempt. In late autumn 2022, Josh, a solo van lifer, was wrapping up his final day working in Minnesota. He found a remote campsite along Lake Superior, miles from the nearest town, with no cell service and surrounded by dense forest where few people ventured this late in the season. What started as a peaceful evening by the lake would quickly turn into something he couldn't explain.
The clouds have rolled in, and it looks like the clouds are going to be here to stay. But it's late enough now to where the sun is going to set low enough to where I'm not going to get a good charge anyways through the trees. So we're going to go ahead and go to our campsite here. Alright, so I just saw the lake out between these trees here, so we're just about there. Alright, well, they pulled the dock out of the lake. Let's go ahead and roll through here and see if anybody's even here. So yeah, I stayed here one video. Oh, jeez. Here. This is a wonderful spot down on the end here. I'm not actually going to take this spot though. Very nice spot though.
After spending the afternoon organizing his van and charging his solar batteries, Josh drove deep into the backcountry to find the perfect spot. The campground was nearly deserted. The docks had already been pulled from the water for winter. He chose an isolated site right on the water's edge, despite the wind constantly blowing directly toward his van from across the lake.
Because now it feels like the wind's going this way. Of course, it always blows into my van every time. It literally doesn't matter where I park, how I park, or what campsite, or wherever I'm at. Always, always, always. I could be 50 feet away and it would still blow into the van. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so this will be the spot. Usually the wind comes right off the lake. This is our final spot in Minnesota. Sad days. Alright, here's all the firewood we gotta burn. It's quite a bit. The fire's starting to rip, so I'm actually gonna go find some more small kindling and stuff just to keep everything going quickly. I kind of want to burn this stuff up quick. Alright. There we go. Now we're going to be sizzling.
As darkness fell, Josh built a fire and cooked burgers on the open flame. The temperature was dropping fast, and the forest around him had gone completely silent.
And that's it. It looks pretty good. Looks really hot too. Alright, no idea what this camera angle looks like. But do the burger taste test here.
Then, while he was eating, something caught his attention.
Do you guys hear that? Okay, my camera battery just died. I have no idea what that was. It's gotta be a deer. Right? What would be walking through a lake? Is that a bird? Huh. Well, I think I'm gonna pack up and get inside the van. Okay, y'all, so I'm in the van. I literally have no idea what was out in the water. It sounded like it had legs and it was walking through the water. Yeah, it can have fun out there.
Inside, he could still hear it, the splashing, the movement in the water. It continued for some time before finally stopping. He turned on his diesel heater and tried to settle in for the night. Some viewers who watched his video suggested it could have been a Sasquatch. Others thought it might have been a Wendigo, a creature from Native American folklore known to haunt the forests around the Great Lakes. But the most unsettling possibility is the simplest one, that something was out there watching him, something that knew how to move through water without leaving tracks, something that waited until he was alone and vulnerable before making its presence known. Whatever it was, it drove an experienced solo camper who had spent months living in remote locations to pack up and leave first thing in the morning, and he never went back to find out what it really was. Larry from his camping channel was spending the night in the remote mountains of Moab, Utah, miles from the nearest town, with winds gusting over 30 miles per hour, when he captured something in the night sky that he still can't explain. What started as a peaceful camping trip quickly turned into one of the most unsettling experiences of his life. Larry and his friend Vic had driven up Miners Basin Trail earlier that day. After returning to camp that evening, the extreme winds made it impossible to build a proper campfire. So they sat around a small ammo can fire pit, trying to stay warm under the full moon.
We've been sitting out here. We've been wanting to make a real fire, but it's just the winds have just been so strong all night, nonstop. I don't know what they are, 30-mile-an-hour winds or something. You can see the full moon back there. That's nice. No, we've had a good time just hanging out, talking. Met our neighbor. This guy pulled up down the road. We might end up doing a tour of his rig in the morning. It's actually really cool, like overland rig, but we'll see what happens. The wind's supposed to be even worse tomorrow. So I think we're going to end up heading out of here and going a little further down in elevation, somewhere where there's some trees to block some of this wind, because the winds tomorrow I think are up to, 50 mile an hour?
Somewhere
gusts,
yeah.
Somewhere in there. So yeah. Anyways, we're just trying to enjoy the night out here.
That's when Larry noticed something strange in the sky.
There they are, right above. Can you see those? There's one really bright one. Up here, there's a really bright light. There's three. There's three again. One went away. Oh, it's coming back. Look, there's another bright one. All right, there's two bright ones. Now they both went away. There they come. Here's another one. Another bright one. There's two bright ones again. You gotta see those two lights. One went away. Now there's two again. One went away. There's another one. It's like right there. It's about even with the flag. Right there. Look how you see that bright light right there. There's another bright one right there. About even with the flag. It's kind of going away. Now it's gone. There's another one. Now it's a lot higher. It's up here. It's like a triangle. It just keeps rotating. See see two more now. That was really bright. It's up a lot higher now. All right, there's another bright one right there. I saw like a little darker one next to it.
The lights returned. Larry rushed to grab his camera. By the time he returned, the original triangle formation was gone, but individual lights continued their bizarre dance across the night sky. Larry's camera captured everything. The footage clearly shows multiple bright objects that appear, disappear, and reappear in different positions.
There's just two really bright lights right there. There's another bright one up high. There's two bright ones. And it went away. Oh, there's a really low bright one. Right there. Look at that. What is that? There's another one a little bit higher now. Up here. Kind of one way now. Oh, there's two. There's two. There's three. Three really bright ones. There's another one. There's one. There's a really bright one right there. There's two really bright ones. There's one up higher. Oh, dang it, I missed it. There it is. There's one bright up high. There's another one up really high. Now there's an airplane crossing. There's a bright one. So you can see the flashing airplane. That one's for sure an airplane. The other ones are not airplanes. There it is. There's another bright one right there. And there's two above it. Oh, tell me you could see those. There's three. All right. I know I know the lights are flickering behind me, but I know you guys could see those. I mean, tell me what you think that could be. There's no way. I mean, I've seen satellites. They cross the sky real slow. A lot of times in lines, the Starlink satellites. I've never seen lights like that just kind of like hang out in one area. And I think at one point, the most I saw was like 4 or 5. But they were never all bright at the same time. Some were really bright, some weren't. But whatever they were moving. Wow. And it's been going on now for almost an hour, and they're still going, but I don't know what else. I can just keep recording the same thing. Huh. That has got to be the strangest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. In the sky, at least. Huh. Huh. I don't know. I don't know what it could be. Anyways, I guess I'm gonna go to bed. Even though I keep wanting to look out the windows at least. But yeah, I don't know.
Larry uploaded the raw footage, and the debate continues. Were these lights some form of advanced aircraft, natural phenomena, or something else entirely? The only certainty is that on that windy night in Moab, something was in the sky above Larry's camp. Something that defied conventional explanation. Something that turned a peaceful camping trip into an encounter he'll never forget. And whatever it was, it's all on camera. Jody and Joe had been traveling through Wales in their converted van, documenting their van life journey. After spending time exploring the beautiful Welsh valleys and completing some mechanical work, they were parked for the night when their peaceful trip took a terrifying turn.
It's 4 a.m, and I've just been woken up by some guy opening the back door. I've no idea if he drilled it and I was in a deep sleep.
Joe shouted at the intruder, demanding to know what he was doing, but instead of panicking or running away, the man calmly backed up, walked up the road, and disappeared into the night, as if nothing had happened. The casual nature of his retreat made the encounter even more unsettling. After the intruder left, Joe and Jody tried to understand what had just happened. Joe was certain he had locked the door. He always locked the door.
I shut the back door and locked it, but yeah, now I'm just up and looking out the window nervously.
The next day, they decided to investigate how the break-in occurred. There were only 2 possibilities. Either the intruder had picked the lock, or the door hadn't been locked properly in the first place. They ran a test with Jody acting as the intruder.
That should lock the van, but I don't think it is.
It still makes the sound, but it doesn't turn red. So let's try locking it.
This is how we got in. We didn't lock it properly.
But I pressed lock.
I think it needs to reset the system. So I think you press the button once, and it resets it all to unlocked, and then you press it again to get the red light.
Open the door. Try the back door.
It appeared Joe hadn't locked it properly, but that didn't change the disturbing reality of what had happened. Someone had tried their van door at 4 a.m. on a Sunday night. Even if the door was unlocked, the fact remains that this person was checking vehicle doors in the early morning hours, looking for an opportunity. Following this incident, they installed a deadbolt for extra security, but the psychological impact of waking up to find a stranger standing over you in your own bed is something that doesn't fade easily. For van lifers like Joe and Jody, their vehicle is both their transportation and their home. What happened that night in Wales served as a stark reminder that when you're sleeping in a van, you're far more vulnerable than you might realize. When Gaz, a solo van lifer, decided to spend the night in a remote medieval village in Yorkshire, he had no idea that his peaceful camping trip would be interrupted by the most terrifying sound he'd ever heard in the middle of the night. The campsite sat on top of the hills, completely isolated from civilization. The nearest village, Heptonstall, was a historic medieval settlement known for its ancient churches and dark history, including being the final resting place of David Hartley, the infamous leader of the Cragvale Coiners gang from the 1770s.
Oh, here we go, look. Oh, pennies on it. David Hartley, 1770 to 1779. 89, sorry. Wow. Yeah, pigeons cooing.
Gaz returned to his campsite as evening approached. The entire field was his, completely empty except for him and his dog, Fenna.
Nice view. What do you think to me windows anyway? Tinted and blue. I love them. I love this little camper. Got a nice grey awning as well. And these windbreakers, these were from Lidl. I bought them years ago because we used to do a bit of camping and stuff, and I've took them down on beach and whatnot when we've been on beach with kids. Don't know what else to show you. Oh yeah, I started changing this lot from that grey to this, but I'm not too sure about that stone effect. But what I do like is what I've done this table in, if I can get it down. Don't know if I'll get it down now. I do like that. So I might do all that in wood just to break up the grey a bit, because everything's grey. I've got some new seat covers which were, I think they were like 16 quid, PU leather from China. Oh, let me put that back up there. Oh, it's not going to go up there now, is it? Hold on. There we go. Oh, rubber steering wheel cover, because the steering wheel, look, it's like Wensleydale cheese and it just crumbles off in your hand. Are you happy now? There we go. She's just been scratching about for about 10 minutes. Try and get comfy.
The remote location meant absolute silence. No traffic, no neighbors, nothing but the sound of rainfall creating white noise that quickly pulled him into sleep. But his peaceful rest wouldn't last long. Deep into the night, something jolted him awake.
I ended up lying down for a bit, but I ended up just drifting off to sleep. It's been peaceful though, but I've just woken up to what sounded like someone screaming. Can't figure out what that is. Must be some type of bird. Let me know in comments if you know what it is.
There was no one else at the campsite. No other vehicles, no other campers. Just him, his dog, and whatever was out there in the darkness, screaming. Gaz stayed awake listening intently to the darkness, unable to shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The isolated location that had seemed so peaceful during the day now felt threatening and exposed. Despite the terrifying experience, morning eventually came, and Gaz survived his night in the remote Yorkshire hills. But the memory of those screams echoing through the darkness would stay with him long after he left that cursed campsite behind. For those brave enough to camp alone in isolated locations, this serves as a chilling reminder. Sometimes the most terrifying sounds come not from inside your vehicle, but from the darkness that surrounds it. And when you're miles from help on top of a remote hill, there's nowhere to run when something starts screaming in the night.